YouTube, I understand that I am probably the 4 millionth person that you've seen cover this topic on a YouTube channel or a Twitter thread. NBA viewership is down and the ratings are down big time. Compared to recent years, across multiple platforms, people just aren't watching the NBA as much as they used to, and there are plenty of numbers and statistics to back that up. And along with the numbers, there are plenty of theories people have and have been spreading online, speculating as to why that is. I'm sure you've heard them all by now if you're watching this video. So with all that being said, I do believe that I have a very unique take on this that I don't think a lot of people have stated or have talked about on the internet, and that's why I'm making this video. I do have a perspective that I think is a little bit different that I want to bring to the conversation. Here's why the NBA viewership is down so much. Let's get into it. So before I get into my takes and maybe some more originality regarding this subject, I do want to go over some of the broader, more popular and mainstream narratives of this decline. And, those include things like too many three-pointers being shot, the crop of superstars of old, like LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, their career is coming to an end pretty shortly. And so that could be a reason people aren't as interested. The rules and the way the game is officiated, it's a lot more offensive focus these days and less physical than it used to be. People talk about rivalry and how those used to be a really interesting part of the NBA and how there has been a little bit less over the recent years. Look, there's plenty of theories like that I'm sure you've seen before. We're not here to talk about those in this video. I do think there's some validity to a lot of them. And at the end of the day, this is an issue that can't be, summed up into one answer, right? There's plenty of reasons and it's a lot of things combined of why the viewership is so low. And I do think a lot of those popular narratives do hold some weight. But now I want to talk about the take you guys came here for that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And I really think it makes a lot of sense. And I hope you guys do consider it as much as I have. And basically, I think the reason, maybe the biggest reason why the NBA's ratings are down so much, think about it like this, okay? The NBA is a business, right? It's also a global business. And like most global scale businesses that are that big, I think it's safe to say most and maybe even the vast majority of consumers for this product, which would be NBA viewers in this case, are going to be casual enjoyers of the product, all right? So think of all the NBA fans in the world and all of the NBA viewers in the world. I think it's fair to say most of those people are casual fans. And if you're watching this video right now, as much as people in the NBA space and the NBA community like myself get so lost in the fine details of each little topic, niche kind of thing in the NBA, we are not most people. We are, basketball sickos, all right? We watch this stuff day and night and, talk about it on a dedicated YouTube channel, okay? That is not what most people do, and that's not how most people enjoy the NBA. So if we can all agree that most fans of the NBA and most viewers of the NBA are casual fans, that's basically the key to all the viewership, right? There's always going to be that relative to the entire viewing population, small, group of a couple million or, a few million, or maybe even a few 100,000 people that just eat, sleep, and breathe NBA stuff, right? Those people aren't going anywhere and they're just going to watch the NBA regardless. That's not who we're talking about in this discussion. We have to zoom out of this picture and focus on the entire broad spectrum of NBA watchers. And that's a conversation I don't think a lot of people are having. They're not looking at the casual fan and what their perspective on the current NBA is and how they engage with the NBA and the product itself, all right? So that's what we're going to do. That's step one of this process. We're going to have to zoom out and observe the casual fan and what they might be thinking. Put ourselves in the shoes of a casual fan. If you are a casual NBA fan, right? I know a lot of you guys watching this video know someone like this. They come home after work or whatever, and they might watch a game, once a week, once a night, whatever it is. They might follow their favorite team, but, generally speaking, they're not going to be on NBA Twitter 24/7. They're not going to be looking up videos like this. They're not going to be watching stuff like this. They just, watch very casually, right? They might root for their local team. They might watch the whole playoffs. They might watch the finals, but they're not going to be, sifting through League Pass every night and studying the rotations of random team X, okay? This is the casual fan, right? Look, the NBA in recent years, the parity has gotten to be like nothing we've ever seen before, maybe even in sports in general, right? The statistical production that we're seeing from NBA players night to night, the highlights that we're seeing on Twitter every single 5 seconds when we open up our app. Like, it's a lot of information and it can be overwhelming at times. I feel like I, cover the NBA a lot on this channel and I'm always looking at stuff about the NBA, watching NBA games. Even I sometimes feel like I don't know as much as I should about the comings and goings of the NBA at any given moment, right? So I can imagine a NBA fan who, just a casual fan who just watches a game here and there. How do you possibly keep up with all of the stuff going on in the league if you're that person? person, it's just so much to take in. It can be absolutely overwhelming. You get desensitized to highlights, you get desensitized to certain play styles, right? The casual fan has to be completely overwhelmed with getting into the NBA as much as we are. Like, where do you even start? If you want to become a NBA diehard or someone that pays this close attention to the NBA like we do, where would you possibly start? Let's say you were into the NBA like heavily back in the day and now you want to get back into it. Where could you possibly find a jumping off point to say, this is how I'm going to learn everything, okay? It is absolutely overwhelming. Every single night we're seeing a 50-point game from someone, a 40-point triple-double. There's a new champion almost every year. There's hardly any dynasties anymore. The parity is out of control, okay? And it's actually a really good thing if you're a super hard NBA fan like we are, because every single night, every single game, you're going to find something entertaining about a certain player on a certain team. Even the bad teams have really great players and fun players to watch. But it is an overwhelming experience for a casual fan. I really think that, and I think it's hard to get into the NBA at this point if you're trying to get into this hobby as much as we are. And so I really think for young people or for people that haven't, had much experience with the NBA, it's just so much to take in that, I might just say, let me go to a different league or find a different thing in general, because like I don't even know where to start, right? And so that's a feeling I think a lot of casual fans must have, is because there's just so much the NBA is throwing at you. I mean, think about how many nationally televised games there are these days compared to back in the day. Like even like, we talk a lot about 2011 or 2012 is when you're starting to see a 48% dip in ratings from now to that time. And I remember there was like NBA Wednesdays and Fridays, and occasionally you get a Sunday game, or if it was a holiday like Christmas, you'd get a bunch of games. There's basically like anywhere from 5 to 10, nationally televised games a week. And it feels like every day there's something the NBA is putting on national television. It's a lot to keep up with. You think about the in-season tournament, they're constantly tweaking and changing structures and, infrastructures of the NBA and how things work, right? And so like if you skip like 4 years of the NBA, think about a time machine, right? If you in, let's say 2018, you time machine all the way to now, think about how much you'd have to catch up on. It would be endless. I mean, think about trying to explain to someone all that's happened in the last 6 years if they didn't know anything about it. There's always players that are, moving up into the top 10, into the top 20, into the top 30 best NBA players and sliding out of it. I honestly feel like, and I love doing it, but it is a constant battle to stay informed as much as you possibly can be for the NBA every single day, right? There's so much information that you have to pay attention to if you want to know 50% of what's going on in the league. I mean, think about how many like star caliber players there are. I remember in like 2011, 2010, there were maybe like 5 superstar players, maybe even less than that. And, maybe 5 teams each year that had a legit shot to win their conference and, win the finals, maybe even less than 5, probably less. It's ridiculous now how many good teams there are in the NBA, how many capable, conference finals teams there are. There are about 8 in the entire league that you could say, yeah, I would not be shocked if they made the conference finals. Probably at least about 4 in each conference, right? So many trades and player movement is out of control. Like it's just so much. I'm totally ranting, and so I apologize for the unorganized format of this video, but think about how overstimulated you are just watching this video right now and how fast I'm talking. That's probably what it feels like for a casual fan just watching an NBA game, or, trying to learn information about the league in general and like what's going on every day or what's going on each week or what's going on with their team. It's just unsustainable. Like how can you possibly, if you're not always paying attention to the league, how can you possibly keep up with the most important things all the time? You're just going to fall behind, and then eventually you just kind of stop watching, or you only watch your own team, and then eventually, that progresses into barely watching at all, and then that progresses to only watching playoffs, and then 5 years go by and you haven't seen an NBA game in a couple years. Like this is how this happens. And so we need to remember the phrase, keep it simple, stupid, right? Sometimes less is more. And I think that is what we're starting to realize as NBA fans. I know a lot of people that have, totally checked out of the NBA cycle. They used to watch, they used to be into it. They just can't even, keep up anymore. Less is more, as if we're the NBA, right? We need to take a step back and say, there's just too much going on, right? And, while we enjoy it to the fullest, we just love all the action as, NBA super fans. Most people just can't enjoy, half of the stuff that we're doing because they just don't have the time, they don't have the energy, and they don't care enough to figure all of this out. I mean, I just feel like the casual fan, their experience is probably really exhausting. And so you probably just check out mentally after a while, right? And that's the point I'm trying to make. That is most fans. The vast majority probably of NBA viewers are casual fans to some degree or another, right? There's degrees of it for sure. But your average person who comes home from work and watches an NBA game, like they're, if they skip a week or two, like they could be totally out of the loop of their own team. Like that's how crazy this is. And we take this for granted. You know, if you go back to 2010, 2011, even like 2015 or so, you know, it's just so much different of a product in so many different ways. And I actually enjoyed a lot of the changes because, like I said, there's so much to consume. There's so much happening all the time in the NBA. There's never a dull day as an NBA fan anymore. But, you know, that's me. You know, for most people, I'd say it's not like that. It's just too much too fast. And I think the NBA needs to reel themselves back in, keep things a little bit more simple, a little bit more, you know, early 2000s, a little bit more, you know, early 2010s, okay? Less is more, keep it simple. We don't need to reinvent the wheel every season for every, you know, single possible thing. That's something I actually have taken a little bit of an issue with it with the NBA. It just seems like every season they're, you know, changing something completely different. And after a while, the league just ends up looking a little bit more unrecognizable in certain regards as time progresses. And I don't know, this is just a total rant. Hopefully you guys, you know, caught the message of this video, and that is that the casual fan cannot possibly keep up with the NBA, even a sliver of what, you know, what super fans are enjoying all the time. Like, it's just, it's too much for the casual fan, and the experience has shifted completely, and there needs to be a little bit more simplicity and a little bit less of just everything, right? At the end of the day, this is all about basketball, and you know, we're rarely even talking about basketball in these conversations because, you know, there's just so many decisions being made about the product that are constantly moving or, you know, changing and moving around, and basketball is really what's most important. And so before I'm an NBA fan, I'm a basketball fan. I know a lot of you guys are the same way, and so I just wish more people could enjoy the NBA as much as I do, because it is truly the best sport in the world, and, you know, in my opinion, the best league in the world. There's no other league where every single day there is a lot of action going on, to the point where you will never be bored as an NBA fan, right? But that is also a double-edged sword, because the, you know, the casual fan just doesn't get to enjoy that like we do. They're gonna miss 90% of it. And so, but if you just don't take the time to look into everything and, you know, watch everything, you're just gonna miss most of it. And so I wish there was a way, I guess I'm saying, that those casual fans could consume all the stuff we do on a day-to-day basis as NBA super fans in a reasonable amount of time while expending a reasonable amount of energy. That just hasn't been the case in a long time. Less is more is the point of the video, and casual fan needs to be the priority of this subject when people talk about it, because that's at the end of the day who we're talking about. We're not talking about super fans. We're not talking about people that pay attention to the NBA more than anything else in their lives. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I thought that was a little bit of a different kind of approach to this topic, and, you know, maybe people have talked about this and I missed it. That totally could be. Let me know down in the comment section if you share the sentiment that I do, that we're not even talking about the right demographic not in 90% of these conversations. Again, I, you know, totally attribute a lot of validity to the original, you know, theories, right? The big ones, okay? And so I definitely think there are some merit to a lot of those, and, you know, they're pretty obvious. And so I'm not going to come on here and talk about those, you know, till I'm blue in the face, because first of all, everyone has already, and second of all, you know, obvious things aren't interesting to me, okay? I'm looking for the stuff that's a little bit, a layer or two behind those obvious things. And so that's, you know, kind of what I'm trying to bring up in this video. I might not have expressed it in the most organized way, so I do apologize for that, but I did want to make sure this video wasn't scripted on purpose, because sometimes when you script a video, it just gets a little robotic. And so hopefully you guys did enjoy, though. Again, leave a like if you did. Definitely let me know down in the comment section all of your feedback. Maybe you have an insight that I haven't seen, or that, you know, not a lot of other people have seen. And hopefully you think about, you know, everything I said in this video, because I do find it super interesting. And I think that is, you know, really what's beneath all of this, is the experience of the casual fan and how it's changed so much to a point where it's not that enjoyable because of everything you have to keep track of. And so I do think it is, you know, probably the main issue. And so, you know, hopefully guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, you know, subscribe for more awesome content. We're going to be uploading stuff like this all the time on this channel. Please, you know, subscribe if you guys want to see more of it. Check out my other videos. You know, a lot of them are a little bit more organized. And so like, subscribe, comment, follow my Twitter, links down in the description, and I will catch you guys in the next one. This has been The NBA Viewership is Declining. Here's why. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today. This is your boy D Haven. As always, peace.